Today I want to speak about a famous rabbi, really much in the 16th and early part of the 17th century. His name was Rabbi Yakov De Castro, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, or some people call him Yaakov Castro or Jacob ben Abraham Castro. He lived between years 1525 to 1610. He was a great rabbi, he was a judge, he was an exponent of, let's say, Jewish law in of its own right. In Cairo, in Egypt, the place we've spoken about on various occasions before. He was a descendant of Jewish community, of people who fled Portugal during the time period of the Portuguese Inquisition. His family would go on to settle in Egypt, like many, I think, other people from that specific community in of itself. Now, it's interesting. As he was a student of the illustrious Radbaz. Who was Radbaz? We've spoken about him before. Rabbi David ben Solomon ibn Abi Zimra happened to live till the year 1573, respectively, and he is considered the last chief rabbi of Egypt to hold sway over the entire Jewish community in Egypt. Mostly, let's say, Musta'arabi Jews, after the abolition of the office of the Nagid at that point in time. The Musta'arabi Jews are the Mizrahi Jews, let's say the Maghrabi Jews, who lived in the Middle East and North Africa, let's just say, prior to the arrival and integration of Ladino-speaking Sephardi Jews of the Iberian Peninsula, and whose halachic rulings, let's say, were widespread across the land. He was a nephew, not a son, as some believe. This is actually according to Wikipedia, I'm just reading over here, of the master of the mint for the Ottoman Sultan in Cairo, Rabbi Abraham De Castro. Very interesting. We'll speak about the Castro family in its own right at one stage. Now, in his youth, he would study under the auspices of another great rabbi, Rabbi Levi ibn Habib in Jerusalem. He was, I think, a chief rabbi of Jerusalem, one of the first chief rabbis, let's say, of Jerusalem, of this illustrious line of chief rabbis, Rishon LeZion. Later in Egypt, he would learn Rabbi Yakov De Castro would go on to serve as a judge, Dayan, in the rabbinic court of Cairo, known as Old Egypt. Now, come with the year 1570, he would visit the mystical place of Tzfat in land of Israel, where he was, let's say, the honored guest in the home of the famous Rabbi Yosef Karo, Maran, also known as the author of the Code of Jewish Law, and they held each other, I believe, in a great esteem. He describes this visit by saying that he saw Rabbi Yosef Karo practice in accordance with the first opinion that it brings down in one of the topics addressed in his seminal work, the Shulchan Arokh, the Code of Jewish Law. Now, the author of the Korei HaDorot mentions, let's just say, that during Rabbi Yakov De Castro's visit to Tzfat, he passed away there. That's what's reported over here using the Wikipedia notes over here. The author of the Tuf Misraim, however, let's say, denies this claim, refuses this claim, saying Rabbi De Castro returned to Egypt and then passed away over there, citing evidence from his own writings in response, where Rabbi De Castro describes his encounter with Rabbi Yosef Karo, author of the Shulchan Arokh, while in Tzfat, and that he had composed a second book, a commentary on the Shulchan Arokh, after he had completed his responsa, and that the books were written in Egypt. Now, another great rabbi, the Chida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulay, in his work, the Torah work called the Shema Gedolim, the book we've spoken about on various occasions for, takes the same position, citing the grandson of Rabbi De Castro, who claims that the rabbi died in Egypt, I think around the year 1610, and a signature was appended to a court document as late as 1606, towards the first few years of the 17th century. Now, his published works includes a compendium, let's say, Shilot Shuvot, question and answers, entitled Ohele Yaakov, and a commentary on the Shulchan Arokh called Erech Lechem, something we've spoken about before. He also wrote a commentary on the tractate of Masechet Betzah on Yom Tov, about Yom Tov pertaining, which was published, I think, post-mortem under the name Toldot Yaakov in the year 1865 in Jerusalem. I think naturally it was published. A book entitled The Hilchot Nezirut, and a number of similar writings on Talmudic subjects, let's say, that was published by a great rabbi named Rabbi Yaakov Hagiz. He was a great Talmudist from a Sephardic family in Morocco. He lived between 1620 to 1674. I believe I've actually spoken about Rabbi Yaakov Hagiz on various occasions before, and I think he actually had a descendant, let's just say, was family related to Moshe Hayun, who was the father of Nehemiah Hayun, who was at that point in time known as a follower of the Sabbatean movement, someone we've spoken about beforehand. And it's actually interesting. Rabbi Yaakov Hagiz was actually very much against the Shabtai Tzvi and put him under a ban, if I'm not mistaken, Rabbi Yakov Hagiz. I think there was Rabbi Moshe Hagiz also that would put him under a strong ban, or was also very much against that. But there was a whole politics and the whole things about it. Nehemiah Hayun was considered as a heretic amongst many at the end, and was put in ban also. So I think Rabbi Yakov Hagiz in his Halachot Ketanot would cite him. I think that was printed in the year 1704 in Venice, as well as other manuscripts, where, let's say, either unpublished or no longer in extant. Some of the questions addressed to the Rabbi came from Jewish communities in various distant places, including Saloniki and Yemen. Rabbi Castro's response, let's say, our primary source for the knowledge of the Jewish community of Egypt in those years specifically. Now, Rabbi Yakov De Castro's impact was so profound that in Egypt they would follow the halakhic rulings of Rabbi Castro, even in those places, as to say, where he disagreed with the Shulchan Arukh, the Code of Jewish Law. It had been noted that many of his rulings in Erech Lechem coincide with a commentary gloss on the Shulchan Aruch, written by Rabbi Moshe Israelis, Ashkenazi commentator, also popularly known as the Ramah. Rabbi Castro's composed his commentary on the Shulchan Aruch before Rabbi Moshe Israelis' gloss was sent to the publisher. So he's really got a huge portion when it comes to the topic of Shulchan Aruch, respectively. We can add on more information within regards to him. I think it's very, very important. He would be the rabbi of, as we said before, of Cairo for many, many years. He was in contact with many of the sages also in the Ottoman Empire. And obviously we mentioned about him before, and about the Chidah who we spoke about beforehand. And I think there was a man, Jacob Spiegel, would hold that he passed away on the 12th of Adar Bet, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the Chidah really looked at him, and he speaks about a rabbi of the name Rabbi Avram Iskanderi, who was the son of Yosef, Rabbi Yosef, or Yosef Iskanderi, who was a physician and descendant of Rabbi Yosef Iskanderi, who is mentioned several times in the Bet Yosef. I believe very, very interesting. Maybe we'll speak about him on another occasion. Well, I think we should very, very much do so. So very interesting. It's always good to speak about various different rabbis. There's a lot chronicled actually within regards to Rabbi Yakov De Castro, even in encyclopedia. There's Jewish encyclopedia. There's on various places. There's a question and response, a whole article here on the Ohel Yaakov. I think it contains more than 406 pages and was printed in Livorno in the year 1783. This book was Ohel Yaakov, which we have to point out. You can actually see it. According to Hebrew books, maybe he passed away in the year 1612, which would be 2 years after than we originally thought, but that's there's different opinions over there. So he's a commentator. There's a lot of commentary on him in, let's say, the English language, and so on and so forth. He was a master when it came to Posek Halakha in general. He lived in the Ottoman Empire, as we stated before, on various occasions. I think Jacob Spiegel was a professor of emeritus of Talmud in the University of Bar-Ilan, so he will very much speak about him on various other occasions. Also, among his other writings, talked about Erech Lechem. There's another book called the Kol Yaakov, which is Drashot, which is gathered, I think, to the Kol Yaakov. I don't know if it was printed out. Then there was Toldot Yaakov, which is Chidushim on Masechet Beitzah, which we spoke about before, and there was a Shelot Shuvot book of Ohel Yaakov, respectively. So he lived at a very great time period. I recommend everyone to learn more within regards to him and about the great rabbis that were in Egypt in his day, in Alexandria, and so on and so forth. So it's always good to explore on the various famous rabbis. There's also another commentary that calls him Rabbi Yakov Kashotaro, gives his full title. So there's different ways of, let's say, spelling his name respectively. So that's it's very, very important to know that. And he was a famous rabbi of his time. It's a rabbi we've spoken about, I believe, in various occasions before. I think we mentioned him in a video of Rabbi Yakov De Castro, if I'm not mistaken. So I very much recommend everyone to go back to those notes and look more into him, into the former rabbi. And friends, through community here, we're learning about the great, let's say, famous rabbis of yesteryear. Sephardi rabbis in general we are speaking about over here. We had the privilege today to speak about a great rabbi from Egypt, and it's actually many. I think Rabbi David Gershon, who was one of the great rabbis of Mitzrayim, would actually write within regards to him also. Poskim b'kol eretz Mitzrayim b'kol geluloteha Ab makom shecholok al maran Bet Yosef Ya'an Kiku Mara Da'atra, speaking about him in very, very high terms. And they speak about him in various, I think Mabit will speak about him, and very much talks about, I think, just in depth. Another opinion says that he passed away in Cairo. He was 87 years of age. He was when the great rabbi passed away. Rabbi De Castro was. It's also talked about one of his well-known rulings is that Ethiopian Jews are descendants of the tribe of Dan, and therefore they are part of the country of Israel, naturally. So many other, let's say, commentaries would study in the yeshiva of the Mahalbach, respectively, and also learn from the Radba. So please don't forget to learn more about him. Friends, we're a community. We're learning about famous rabbis yesterday. If you descend from any of the rabbis we're speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information on the rabbis. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please subscribe now to the channel. We are nearing staggering 7,000 subscribers, which makes us one of the largest online encyclopedias on Sephardic rabbis, without a doubt. And please help grow the channel. If you feel anyone is interested in watching any of these videos, share these videos also to other people and help grow the community. Now, I'm recording this at a time of Tisha B'Av. It's a fast day here in Israel, or all over the world. The Jewish diaspora also, where we're mourning the breaching of the walls of the Bet HaMikdash that actually occurred. First temple period, second temple period. I hope that we will see the rebuilding of the Bet HaMikdash tonight. We won't have to go through a Tisha B'Av, and Bez Hashem will just see brachot and good things all over this fantastic country of Israel. May we see a lot of brachot and all of us looking. Please send me an email. Where are you watching this video from? Which country? Give me feedback about yourselves. Are you interested in me covering a video on a rabbi that you descended from? Let me know information on them, and I'll see if it's suitable for this series of itself. I really respect all your fantastic wishes, all your feedback. Wishing all a meaningful fast, and take care. Thanks for watching.